It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 5. Start at verse 19. Start up Isaiah 5 and starting at verse 18. And it says, "Woe unto them that draw iniquity with cords of vanity, and sin as it were with a cart rope." Verse 19, that say, "Let him make speed and hasten his work, that we may see it, and let the counsel of the Holy One of Israel draw nigh and come, that we may know it." Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Verse 21, woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sights. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine and men of strength to mingle strong drink. Verse 23, which justified the wicked for reward and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. You know, that's deep, because when you take the time to think about it, this system is so utterly corrupt, they're going to actually make it a crime to actually speak the truth. Verse 24, therefore as the fire devoureth the stubble and the flame consumeth the chaff, so their root shall be as rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust, because they have cast away the law of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua of hosts, and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam La Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem HaKadosh. So double honors to the elders and to the apostles I learned this truth from. Peace and salutation to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives, as well as the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and Aqua, thought they're listening and learning. Lord, willingly this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations. Subscribe to this truth to you. I said Shalom. But the what's up, coming at you another lesson through the Spirit, through the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Yahweh meaning he is, he exists, or he to be, Ba'ashem, Ba'ashem, Hashem, his name. Yahushai meaning he saves, or he deliverer, true names of the Most High God and his Son. People ignorantly call God and Jesus Christ, with whose true name is Paleo Hebrews. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. This lesson is inspired. Did a lesson this morning, and it's spirit, because I came across this video and I knew I was gonna do something with it, and you know, I took it as the spirit, because Lord to behold, the video I came across this picture. And that's something. Say this so far. I know I took a picture of this. Bear with me for a second, man. That's crazy. So, if you're not familiar with who this woman is, I think she's a W, or she was, or maybe still is. You know, I don't watch the WNBA, but I remember her because she became significant in a lot of people's, you know, I ain't gonna say people don't watch her, but my daughter likes basketball, and she don't even watch or know any female basketball players. So her name is Brittany Griner. Pretty much she became infamous because pretty much I think she was in like somewhere in Russia, or she was in one of them countries, Slovakia. And pretty much she was in one of them countries, and I think she had some marijuana or something like that. And what a lot of Babylonians or Americans tend to have this highly inflated opinion about how great America is, because the laws here are a lot different than laws in other countries. You know, like there's been different situations where you'll have Israelite loudmouth Keisha that goes to these different countries like Dubai, or you know, India, you know, these different places, and the mannerism they have here, you know, thinking that everything revolves around them, and you know, the smart mouth, and think they can speak or talk down or demasculate a man. Well, you know, I remember a situation of Keisha went out to, I think it was Dubai, and you know, she got sassy with one of those individuals, and they locked her ass up. I think she had to do like 6 months or something like that just for words. Well, I think Brittany Griner got caught with like some marijuana, and it wasn't even that much, but I think marijuana is like illegal. Like in certain countries, like in the land of Moab, which they would call China. I think like if you get caught with drugs out there, depending on the amount, it could be a death sentence. I can't remember the guy's name, but I believe he was an Idumean. He got caught out there, and I think Babylon the Great or America got him back, but they punished him. So I think they like publicly beat him. I think he had to take like lashes. I might be mixing something up, but I don't think I'm mixing it because I remember that this was years ago. I was younger at the time, so I remember. So just witnessing certain stuff, you realize that again, these people in Babylon the Great have a lot of delusion. Like the scriptures talk about, the Lord's gonna put strong delusion on these people. Now again, so obviously, if you read the caption, it says Brittany Griner is now divorced twice and is paying child support to 3 kids and 2 ex-wives. Now that one right there is the one that was with her when she oh wow, they adopted the little I do it might be a joke, I don't know, but that looked funny. Anyhow, that looked goofy. So she wanted to be a man because obviously she's into she's abominable, detestable, But I remember, like, say Russia had her and they had her for a while, but Babylon the Great ended up petitioning for her, ended up getting her back, But I know she did it. Like they held her for some. I can't remember exactly. I don't want to lie, but I remember that woman being with her at the time, pretty much being by her side because when she got released, they was talking about how they was gonna spend all this time together and whatnot. Now it's funny because now again she's divorced from both of them. And again, this is what the video kind of was elaborating to about how upside down Babylon the Great is, which Babylon the Great promotes, same-sex marriage, women being with women, men being with men, a man becoming a woman and a woman becoming a man, vice versa. It's not about who the Lord created you to be, but how you feel. Which again, it's gonna be funny because a lot of people about to feel how it is experience being hungry. A lot of people about to feel the pressure of not being able to pay, or you pay those bills. A lot of people about to feel a lot of insecurity, and a lot of people about to feel a lot of fear. So and again, it goes into the foolishness of Keisha. Matter of fact, I'm gonna play the video first. Let me go ahead and play this. Fair use. Lakia. She thinks she a man. Look at it. So I'm gonna play copyright disclaimer first.
The only app that made me money and kept me entertained.
The number one sign that you can actually trust a rewards app, it actually lets you get your money. No hoops to jump through, no impossible goals. I've tried a bunch of these apps on my phone.
So it's copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news report, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance of in favor of fair use. So, I'm not profiting off of this. I'm just about to line up some things that's being said with scriptures. Lord willing, get some edification from it. And it just shows you why Babylon the Great, aka America, is going to be destroyed. Again, it takes for you to actually experience. You want to be a man so badly, and then you experience what men experience. Because again, men are treated like men here. We're treated like objects or tools. You rarely get a good. It's funny. I experienced it. I never experienced it until I had children. You know what I mean? I never forget. You might see a female at his Mother's Day, and it'd be like. Which, again, you're not supposed to be rewarded for something you're supposed to do. We ain't supposed to get a whole day for being a father or mother. But if you go listen to any man that has children, he'll tell you like it's not equal when it comes to men and women. And that's another allusion to Babylon the Great, because they tell you that you equal to a man, you can do whatever a man can do, but then clearly they show you that it's not equal. That's why a woman can sit up there and say, oh, you did some shit that you didn't even do, and they not even gonna investigate it, nothing. They just gonna come snatch you up. You know. But then a woman will hit you, and if you defend yourself, you cry like a female, you know what I mean? You know, a woman to sit up there and she'll initiate or do something sexually provocative with an underage child, and it won't be looked down upon like that. But then if a guy messes with a younger woman, then it's like the worst. It's worse than rape. You know what I mean? Damn, I shouldn't have said rape. Grape is worse than grape. In the eyes of the public. Which, again, I watched somebody break it down. They said, you know, a lot of women got offended by if a man dates a younger woman. But the podcaster, I think I forgot what that, because, you know, that dude, what did he say? He made a statement about, you know, some of the things he said make sense, but again, I don't trust none of these podcasters and none of that shit. You know what I mean? All these people are for Babylon the Great, you know, surviving and thriving. You know, it's, you know, when a guy don't even want to get to know the woman, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you know, we all grew up with, well, I know I grew up with, you know, my brother said it was all about getting as much money as possible and don't give the woman shit. You know what I'm saying? But the way Babylon the Great is designed, you know, you go spend some kind of money trying to court or date or be around a woman, period. You know, now the thing is the quality of these women, they're not even worth being spending no money on. And that's why the brother made the statement about be careful, you know, because of the fact you got these women out here, they believe that they're entitled to or supposed to be deserving of all this immaculate shit. And, you know, again, their mindset and their mentality is so fucked up. You know, that's why a lot of jakes will sit up there, like I said again, being passport bros or just, you know, buying the cow as opposed to trying to rent it. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, again, I saw a video, I watched this guy called Boss Mac, you know what I mean? And the thing is, you know, he's not even vulgar because, again, his vocabulary is probably a lot more extensive than a lot of people's. You know, he uses some words I've never heard of, you know, which that impressed me to a degree, but not really, you know what I mean? Like, the fuck, you know, you using these big ass words, but ain't really coming across. You want to sound deeper than what you is when you can say some simple shit and get your point across easier. But he uses the word bitch a lot, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people get offended. But at the same time, you tell a female or call her a bitch and that'll catch her attention. Which is funny because the thing is, they call themselves bitches. They'll call each other bitches. But let a man call them a bitch and then it's you know, so when a bitch only simply means a female dog. And these women mentalities is like fucking dogs. Because he'll bring out videos showing a woman got a man. Like he had a video where the chick sitting up there talking about fuck her man, and the dude she's with talking about, yeah, we got to watch out for her and look out for her. And he letting you know he about to fuck her. And that's what Boss Mac was going into. He like, yeah, make sure you got more than one woman. He was like, because when your girl going out talking about she on these trips and, you know, she hanging with her girls, you know, she going. Because women in their mind think that they can do what most men. I ain't gonna say all women, but that mindset of, you know, like that Charles the White, you know, growing up mentality, he said, he you know, his mother will remove herself. Instead of arguing with a man, she will remove herself. Or certain things, you know, that's that old school mentality. These women nowadays don't got that. And that's why a lot of them gonna really, really suffer. The scriptures talk about in the last days about pride, you know what I mean? Many great miseries coming to these people in the last days because they walked in great pride. You know, whenever a woman thinks she can do what a man can do, well, then defend yourself like a man. You don't need a man. You know, a woman belittle a woman to belittle a man and then expect this man to come to her rescue like he Clark, or not Clark Kent, but Superman or some shit like that. When these men are so fed up with women, if you can't see that, that's crazy. Like back in the days, men to come to the rescue, they see, but the scriptures tell you not to get involved with another man's, like, the scriptures talk about being a busybody in other men's matters. That's why you got judgment that'll take place. A guy get into a situation that really don't concern him, and these might be a married couple. I want to say, like, just Babylon the Great is so fucking funny. It's not funny, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's really ridiculous. But Salaki, I'm like, we're all over the place. So it took for these women to experience, they wanted to be men so badly, you know what I mean? And be careful what they say. Be careful what you wish for, right? Because now, based on the fact that they see how men are treated, they don't want to be men anymore. And just watch the video. Fair use, fair use.
And I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I got one more relationship left in me before I start doing what the Bible says. I'm really finna come husband and kids.
And the sad part is she understands what the Bible says. So it'd be funny if this last relationship that she think that the Lord gonna bless her with is literally the one that she get killed, or you know how women sit up there and say you did some shit, you didn't do it, and they say it's easy to get in some trouble or hard to get out of, which I mean I can attest to. If the Lord ain't with you, your ass could be be disappeared. You could be 86 to here one day and gone the next.
In a minute, if the next with my time, because like what the I ain't supposed to be together. Maybe that's why me and these because we not even supposed to be together, man. I'm finna just do what I'm finna wear my Bible at. I know I can't be the only one.
And you could see the man like tendencies on her, but she, she was so truly frustrated. And the whole issue after he gonna say something that's gonna be funny, but it's serious.
I just feel like women might not be for me. Let me just say that the dating of lesbians, okay, is fucking trash, okay?
She gonna say something. She said most of these women ain't really lesbians, because how you gonna be a lesbian but you already got children from a previous relationship that you had with a man, but because that didn't work out the way you think it's supposed to work out for whatever reason, men don't be shit, but women don't be shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, a woman to think it's okay for you to literally, because you feel this man was unfaithful, so now you gonna get your lick back, so you gonna go suck and fuck something. But it's already been proven that the women carry the diseases, and it's already been proven that you ain't a fucking man. A man can truly love you, but wouldn't lay down with this woman and not give a fuck. It's really impossible for a woman not to actually take on the emotions and have feelings for, a woman could get feelings just because a motherfucker bought her a sandwich or a flower. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? You're not going to tell me that a woman and a man's thinkings and emotions and just, it's another thing that show y'all not equal. The fact that a lot of these women gonna get cut from these jobs quicker than men. They already showed you that. When you had all them executives, women that, had those government positions that lost them. I was listening to a brother yesterday. He was saying how pretty much we work in a warehouse. This bitch can't even lift the 50 pounds. That's required to have a job. So what the fuck is you here for?
It is absolutely fucking trash.
I can't be the only lesbian stud, whatever you want to call it, that is actually getting tired of dealing with women.
Oh, well, well, well. Well, well, well. Well, well, well.
I just want to say, females, that's...
And it's funny because as much as they making sense now, they still gonna do some dumbass shit. I got a whole child supposed to be standing up right now. And literally some kind of way to maneuver them and nowhere to be found now. You get what I'm saying?
That claim they gay or whatever and got kids. Don't even look my way, bro. Don't even look my way. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not no statty. I'm not they daddy. I'm not none of that.
I don't want no woman with kids for the simple fact y'all know how to discipline y'all fucking kids. I was messing with this one girl. Every time me and her got into it, her child would be right there in the middle of it. Right, this little bastard would literally come in the room and sit in between us and be in our mouths. I'm not this child's parent. I'm not about to do this child's parent's job. And where's her daddy? I I ain't seen a daddy not once.
I do not do pre-established families. Everybody that follows me knows I don't do the woman with the kids. It's just something that I always stand strong.
Single mothers dating studs is a scam. And this came out another single mother mouth. Single mothers date studs because they looking for stability and they know that us studs, we more stable, we got more shit going for ourselves. Also stated that we go over and beyond. We do what the
when you take time to think about it, like all these different labels for like somebody that's supposed to be like she said her she a stud. It was Boss Mac because it was a video where the chick was like, well, this is this and that's that. You know, these different labels. It's a new one. They was like, well, pretty much this one made you effeminate, but you just like girls. This one made that you kind of more masculine. I just, you know what I mean? Just all the confusion. I got the scripture. Yeah, but it's funny because again, you know, and they still ain't learned enough, you know. Like, again, like, they still, it's going to take, you know, more suffering for these people to really, like, get in, you know, in order. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 10. The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. And that's deep, you know, because this is considered the city of confusion. Babylon the Great, a.k.a. America. Babel, you know. When, you know, after when the Lord basically sent the angels to confound the languages to confuse everything, you know, with the Tower of Babel, you know, and now we're in the, you know, them trying to do the modern day Tower of Babel with this whole, you know, system that they try to bring forth. But again, just show you the confusion that, and then you got to remember the man in power. You know, the scriptures talk about the judge of the city is so is his officers and every manner of the. I'm butchering it. I don't want to butcher it, so let me get it. Says how the judge of the city is, so is the people, or so is the officer. Roughly paraphrased, but you know, these elites, these people that you know actually rule the earth. You know, they a bunch of freaks, you know, pedophiles. These motherfuckers is, you know, it's the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 and verse 1, and it reads, a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of prudent man is well ordered. But these people aren't prudent, you know. Again, they're, you know, what's the word? Magnus opus. Their supreme idea is pretty much we go create these robots and pretty much use them to govern the world. Like the dumbest shit ever. Like the elder said, the dumbest plan ever. Verse 2: as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. You know, we got a bunch of degenerate, weird, you know, detestable, disgusting, abominable people that's ruling the earth. And that's why wickedness is a creature the way it is. And that's why the people are so fucking bugged out. There's a lot of spiritual activity going on, you know, left-handed spiritual activity at that. So, you know, it says an unwise king destroyeth his people. Esau Edom is an unwise king. I mean, Donald Trump and this administration, this Trump administration is showing you how wise they is. And I keep on waiting for the catch. But it ain't really no catch. It's the Lord just showing you that wisdom really pretty much left teaming, you know. People, you know, why would you start a war but you don't have the means to actually like fight? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, used all the missiles that you need in order. And that's why he's lightweight leaning back. They don't have. I mean, it's already came out that I've seen the footage. Brother seen the footage. That guy, the Secretary of Defense or Secretary of War, or whatever the fuck he's supposed to be, he had to go in front of Congress and say, we need more money. So it ain't that necessarily. And then what's funny about, he keep on threatening them. You better comply within a day or else, you know, and they laughing at him. You got to think about this. Whenever somebody tells you to come on, you know, you try to threaten them, they talk about come on. They talk about bring the ground troops. And a lot of young people, like I said, that's used to, again, you got a lot of spoiled ass people in Babylon the Great that haven't been used to suffering, you know. I mean, I grew up in the ghettos and in poverty and the projects and the hood and all that shit, yet still, you still really don't get a true understanding. I mean, I remember a brother saying he ain't had an easy life. I don't think too many of us have, but you don't really understand suffering until you go through the truth. And like I said again, because I suffer to a degree being homeless in certain little situations, or you might make a poor decision that puts you in the path of suffering, but you don't necessarily have to do nothing wrong, and the Lord can just test you for something that you already did, you haven't done yet, or the Lord just choosing to test you, to build you up. The scriptures talk about the fire of adversity, because a man of the Lord is going to suffer that adversity and come through like gold. A woman ain't gonna be able to suffer. That's why you ain't got too many women. Why you think you got more? I mean, I ain't saying men ain't came with the truth and lead the truth. So the scriptures talk about if there were of us, they would have left us, roughly paraphrased. But you don't see. I mean, like when a woman literally is in the truth and then become discouraged because of the man or this, or they don't want that, or they don't want to experience this. What I mean? And the funny part is, when you take time to think about it, I've heard many of women say this same statement. They say women thinking that they don't want to share a man, not understanding that, again, is separation. We're not the same. That's why you got a part that go in and I got a part that go out. We don't have microscopes or x-ray vision where I can see if you got herpes with it. You know what I'm saying? But if a man got it, you going to see that shit unless he on medication. But again, like I said, this country promotes a woman being equal to the man, and it's not. I remember years ago somebody said at the end, I remember a brother sat up there and was talking about, as a female he was talking to, and she was like, pretty much the whole, pretty much a man having more than one woman. And he said, but you pretty much share men now. You got places like Atlanta where you got men that's actually into other fucking men, but then they dealing with a woman. So the man, the punk is basically fighting the female. Take time to really ponder that. And then everybody talking about that's the Mecca. What, the Mecca of the boule or something? Like, I mean, I've never been, you got to understand that's deep too. Because you said you got some what did Pimp C call them? Homo thugs? And I'm not saying that about all Atlanta brothers. You got a cap down there. I met some of the brothers, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is freaky deaky Babylon. This place got to fucking go.
And I ain't even gonna lie to you.
The woman with the kids. It's just something that I always stand strong.
Single mothers dating studs is a scam. And this came out another single mother mouth. Single mothers date studs because they looking for stability and they know that us studs, we more stable, we got more shit going for ourselves. Also stated that we go over and beyond. We do what the baby daddy never do. Basically, we wanted to step up and be a fucking simp for another man's seat. Listen, we put our fucking on and we trying to save the day. Spending our hard-earned money on another man's child. They do it because they know that studs is gonna simp and step up. And I'm making this video to say, any stud out there that's playing stepdad, stop it right now. I started dating this girl, right? And we were together over, 5 years, you know what I'm saying? We had a baby together and stuff. She had a baby for me. So now that we done broke up, and I signed the birth certificate.
Do you hear this shit? She had a baby for me. I mean, in her mind, she really... Charles White, as much as I can't stand him and I despise and hate this nigga, right? Because again, he portrays one image like you give a fuck about your people, but then, like I said, you're here in the background if it don't come to the money. Again... somebody was just speaking on the fact that, they said that pretty much he do things for clicks. He try to stay relevant because he try to continue to get paid. The Lord gonna judge that nigga harshly, just like the brother sit up there and said that, vocab or hocab alone gonna be judged. I didn't even pay attention, I didn't watch the brother's video. So like I watched the elder speak on the video. But I didn't even know he came out there with all them people or none of that. You know what I mean? I was kind of drinking that night, which I need to probably slow down on that. That's the spirit right there. Because again, like, so I don't know, like I said, I remember making a video about, because I was about to lay down and go to sleep. And then the beloved elder played the video, but I didn't even know that the cops was called or none of that shit. So I know they was frustrated. And like he was saying, instead of the cops sitting up there, they kind of like maintained it like it was like all set up. You know, again, like I say, if you don't think this nigga the devil, and I understand the elder's point of view and how he got to maneuver, you know, when you the head of something, you can't just, you know, you got to carry yourself a certain kind of way. You can't be seen saying everything. You can't be seen doing everything. So yeah, I get it. But that nigga the devil, man, like I said again, because like the elder said, why do you keep on trying to force this on us? This goes beyond just debate. Now this is like harassment. And like the elder said, if we was to be doing that to church, you know, like how many times, well, like, didn't the brother go to jail? The one brother that went out to the churches, you know, what they call that, church bashing, you know? You go to one of these churches and try to do that church bliss, you know how they talk about the NFL and, you know, when they bum rush the quarterback, blissing. But if we was to do that, you fuck around going to jail. So how can he do this and it's no repercussions? Because he's set up.
So now she done put me on child support.
Now that's funny. Because you wanted so intensely wanted to be a man, in your mind, the Lord gave you such strong delusion, you think you're a man, and now you get what part or some of what comes along with being a man. And at a time where, like I said, shit hard. Now, I don't know how old this is. You know, she look ghetto as fuck. You know what I mean? She looking bad. You know what I'm saying? But the Lord, again, like I said, it's sad, man, because, again, ain't no man going to have no sympathy or pity on this so supposed to be man. You know what I'm saying?
So where I have to pay $150 every 2 weeks, you know, they go off your income. So my thing is, I'm letting you still know, don't sign that mother certificate. That nigga baby. That ain't your baby. Don't you sign that mother certificate. So now I'm on child.
Hey, but it wasn't the nigga baby when she had the baby for you. Watch your words. Keep your words carefully. You know, they say slip on the tongue in the scriptures. But no, you wasn't slipping the tongue. You just said it. You said she had a baby for me. That's the nigga baby, huh?
Support the rest of my life.
No, gotcha, bitch. What Dave Chappelle say? Gotcha, bitch. You sit up there outside that person. She probably was feeling like more of a man than me. Nuts big as fuck. She ain't even got no nuts.
Studs are trying to be, specifically in the black community.
Right. This particular situation, that's why you ain't see Nan, Edomite, Moabite, no other nationality. You saw all these nigga women trying to be fucking men. And then, like I said, it's about to be a time. The scriptures talk about Jacob's trouble. We already in the beginning stages of Jacob's trouble because our people are in trouble. You know, these ICE raids are still going on. I just read something about, they talk about some, they intensified, I think, in the month of July. 250 years, remember? You know what I'm saying? But only, you know, I got the scripture because it talks about in the book of Job chapter 39. It says, Job 39 and verse 16, she is hardened against her young ones as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain without fear. And like I said, we talking about the one that's actually not messing with other women. You know, scriptures liken her onto an ostrich, you know, which an ostrich is a cruel bird. You know, if you've ever had like dogs or certain animals, you know, like for instance, if you ever had a dog and a female dog, like if you ever had a litter of puppies, depending on how many puppies the bitch has, depends on if the mother gonna let them feed. So people don't even like, people are like, oh, we'll make money off of it. Like that shit ain't even an easy job. That's why I never got a girl dog. Well, that's a lie. I got a girl dog with my brother and the dog died. But, you know, just from having a litter with him, and it was two of us. You know, you can't even really deal, like I had two aggressive dogs before, you know. And the thing is, the dogs that I'm into, they territorial. I don't want no toy fucking dog. You know what I mean? Like, I want the motherfucker to do some kind of work. I got to work to feed this motherfucker, so you going to work in some kind of fashion as well. This ain't about, oh, my child, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, the fuck? You going to bark? You going to, you know what I mean? You going to do something. All I really want you to do is bark. Let me know somebody, you know what I mean? But, you know, it likens her onto an ostrich. And like I say again, like females of animals' persuasion, just like females, you know, of the Israelites and you know, these other nations, they could, you know, be cruel, especially when you, like, pretty much your upbringings in Babylon the Great, you know, because they got this weird ass perspective on shit, you know. But a female like dog, if it's too many puppies, she won't let. Sometimes they don't like the just like a human. Like I've had to, I went to school for the most part, so I really was running the streets. So I remember going to health class and watching the videos where the mother throw away the baby, and I knew a bitch was crazy then. I say, well, damn, you just took the time to have this baby. You supposed to be the baby growing within you. You know it's something in you. You know what I mean? You have a woman carry the baby to term to throw it away. If that ain't no cruel shit. So that's what the Bible talks and labels or likens a woman onto an ostrich, which when you go and research it, an ostrich is a cruel bird. It'll talk about how it'll fucking kill and break the eggs of its young. Verse 17, because the Most High have deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he. Salaki, I didn't. Job 39:16, she is hardened against her young ones as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain without fear. Because the Most High hath deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted to her understanding. When you go into the curses, what it talks about? Say her eye gonna be evil to not only her children, but to the man of, the husband. And that's why you got these, single family households and, we punished, broken people. And, again, the Lord's giving us truth. We are watching a miracle take place because it talks about the valley of the dry bones. So, basically being spiritually made alive by this word. But that curse is still heavy here. The fuck? If you can't but see that, like you got a small remnant. The scriptures talk about a small remnant. Everybody not designed or meant to come back. The Lord don't want everybody. You think the Lord gonna wake one of these? Now, the thing is, I used to have a female friend, and I'll never forget. She told me one day, she saw a girl sit up there and just break down and cry. So I'm basically sinning against the Lord. She was pretty much like the girl was she was a alphabet person and pretty much had that epiphany. And just like the elder said, that Islam demon, that's a hard spirit that, he doesn't consider or believe, a Jake coming back from that. I don't know, again, like I said, my dad was in the Islam, but I never had to participate in none of it. So maybe the Lord spared me, I got enough demons. But he gonna make a statement about how crazy women is. I hate my phone do this dumbass shit. My other phone used to literally hold the video. This one won't even fucking hold it. Like it pissing me off.
And simp so hard and you just look like fools.
I ain't mean to do that. Too busy trying to be a man.
Studs are trying to be, specifically in the black community, trying to be stepdads and simp so hard and you just look like fools. Let's just put it out that it's a mental illness just listening to these women talk.
He said it's a mental illness. And he said statistically they did a study and they said within like 1 out of every 5 women is like crazy. And I'm starting to see certain shit. And when you take time to think about that, if it's more women than it is men, that's scary. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you don't even know, you know what I mean? Like, you loving this bitch and this bitch a whole demon. Like, we haven't even seen real tests yet. The C-hip, not the C-hip, Salaki. This jump shot was a test because like the elder brother said, he said you had people divorce each other. If you ain't gonna get this, I'm not gonna be with you, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? So you ain't even really went through you ain't even really been tried yet. We talking about saying fuck this system and trusting in the Lord. And if a motherfucker sitting up here can't even, like that's crazy for it all to come out that this nigga literally pretty much was a psyop and killed people. I'm pleading the fifth. And then I recall the times when they was talking about the people that don't want to take this shit should be jailed. They should be this should be that. Motherfuckers is stupid. Like I said again, you will have somebody actually hate us for telling the truth.
You know what I'm saying? And there's a different video that I'm gonna cover. It was basically 1 in 3 women have a mental illness, but I think statistics actually say it's actually more like 1 in 5 are mentally ill, which is still a lot. It's 20%, right? But you hear these women talk, they're sick. Just come on back to this side. Y'all are experiencing the same stuff with women. You guys see them all over the place. In a lot of the southeastern states, you will see
Southeastern. So that's like you said, when you look at that, that's like more so like Georgia. You know, they was talking about, I think it was Texas, that you had a lot of diseases running rampant. But, you know, he talk about more so like Atlanta, you know, well, I don't know about Alabama, but, you know, we know, of course, of Atlanta. Like, again, I'm not, when you take time to really think about it, you got to actually be impressed by the brothers down there, because just imagine the spirits they dealing with. You know, I remember my demon was talking about it as a book, and I've been looking for this book, but it's probably like like my sister wrote a book before. Nowadays, far more easier to write a book, because you can self-publish it. You can go through Amazon. You can do certain shit. But my sister, what's Salakia? I don't know if she wrote the book. She was in the process of trying to write a book. I haven't talked to my sister in years. But yeah, it's just, it's you gotta. Oh yeah, but I was saying how the premise of the book was pretty much, they was talking about how each region pretty much have a spirit over it. And that make a lot of sense. That's why you got certain brothers in certain areas that you can tell it's a spirit. That's why, like, you got brothers in California, sea walking and blood walking, and, you know what I mean, the way that they dress and the way that they, then you got another region where, they do move like this and move like that. So yeah, it's the spirits over different regions, So, I found that funny because, again, with the pride of this place, that's why the Lord going to judge the shit out of this place. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 15, and it reads, "Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel." I'm going to start at verse 14. "Therefore, behold, I will proceed to do a marvelous work among this people." That's a marvelous work for these people to realize. You heard what the first female said. She said, "I think I'm going to just do what the Lord want us to do." But at the same time, she ain't gonna do. That's a heavy demon on her. You know what I mean? You got to understand, certain demons is. I watched the brother. I didn't watch the video, but I think I started it. He was like, a strong demon attacked me, because again, we got a short time. Like this devil. His end is almost here. Says, "Therefore, behold, I will proceed to do a marvelous work among this people, even a marvelous work and a wonder. For the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and the understanding of their prudent men shall be hid. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us and who knoweth us?" And like I said, right now, the Lord is exposed in a lot of individuals, especially these elites. And that's why Revelation 12 and 12 is going to basically manifest. You know what I mean? Again, I was making a statement, which I, just really meditating, thinking about what I said. I was like, well, damn, you'll see a person. Usually a person, when they expose for lies or whatever, you're embarrassed. But unlike, a sane or a regular or a humble person, because a humble person will be embarrassed. But a proud, wicked ass individual, they gonna be, I've seen in my lifetime a motherfucker get caught, they stole somebody's shit, they did some, lied on somebody, something like that, and get upset that they got exposed. And when you take time to think about it, that's what Esau Edom's going to do. That's why he's going to come down with Revelation 12 and 12. Devil coming down with great wrath, because he knoweth but he have but a short time. And again, like I said, I made the statement. I forgot where I read it or saw it or who said it, but they was like, pretty much DJ Trump know that he's going to be blamed for all this. That's why they constantly putting up his approval numbers and all that. But he doesn't give a fuck. He has that mind. Well, the Lord got that spirit and mindset on him. He all about the money and about, they just said he just did literally like participated in like a golfing outing, because they said Obama did it too, where it was like, I don't know how much money it was, like some ridiculous amount of shit. I don't know if he raised it. I'm really got to check into it though. Like, this is how this man moving. So you got Jake talking about, yeah, he's smelling like shit. Yeah, he think he the shit. That's why he shitted in that meme on the people. So, you know what I mean? When you just take the time to look at everything, like they talk about he smelling like shit. Like, who was that? Vespasian, talking about he shitting on himself. You know what I mean? Yeah, but this dude doing everything else too. He shitting on the whole world. Verse 16, "Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay, for shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not, or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding?" How are you going to tell the person that created you? Again, I'm going through some whole demonic shit with my child. And I'm not about to put air my business, but it's like, yeah, it's frustrating, but I also understand the Lord doing something. But like I said multiple times, at the end of the day, like, you need to get the understanding. If it becomes between you and the truth, it's gonna be the truth every time. It's more than just one child. And like I said, I always bring up the idea and the account about I watched this movie where the one parent had to sell one child in order to feed the other children. Imagine being put in a position like that. How the elder brother said, you got an overly inflated ego of your worth. Another one of my prayers is I want to do the will of the work of the Lord. And what if the will of and work of the Lord is for you to be destroyed? If I ain't got to do this shit as far as putting up with this place anymore, I'm with that. Who gonna all say? Everybody want to say literally, I want to be saved. I'm gonna do the will of the work. But what if your lot ain't to be fucking saved? I would never be proud enough to say I know the mind of the Lord. We go about basically what the scriptures say and what the Lord like, and what the scriptures tell us. That's why it's so important to read. But at the same time, the Lord is sovereign. He could do whatever the fuck he want. He chose to bring our big brother, Lord and Savior, to make him the sacrifice in order. That's how we get our grace. So, truly, like I say again, I don't try to figure out why I'm suffering like that. I try to endure the suffering. I ain't gonna have to figure out like the elder said, you gonna know when Jacob's trouble going along. That's why you should know you in the beginning stages of it. When they could just go and literally snatch up a motherfucker. You gotta remember certain Northern Kingdom brothers, because of their complexion, got caught up in this whole ICE shit. Brother the elder did a video response to it where you had the Northern Kingdom chick, and she looked like an Idumean. And she was just talking about the conditions of those, encampments and whatnot. So if you ain't never really been incarcerated or had to sit your ass down nowhere, you ain't going to be able to deal with that. Just based on that alone, you know what I mean? Like, I've been incarcerated. You up there, the one comfort you might want is a Bible. And if the Lord ain't with that, that's why it's important to get these scriptures within you. Or you better have some hellified faith to trust and pray. Again, when scriptures wouldn't come to me, I would pray. And like I said, that's not a fun feeling. That's not a good feeling. It was a beautiful, great yapah feeling when I finally got a Bible. And I'm gonna be honest with myself. A lot of them times was from poor decisions. I should have been left her alone. I'm trying to hold them because I'm thinking that's what the Lord wanted. When the Lord's sitting up there really trying and testing who you gonna accept. You trying to control this shit, and then you don't control nothing. And you get what I'm saying? You're gonna have individuals that's gonna actually choose their words very wisely and still gonna get persecuted and snatched up and end up in these different camps. I'm not saying don't use wisdom. Again, you never let your left hand know where your right hand. Like the elder brother was going into, how the fuck would you be showing a crowd full of people how much money you got when people struggling and hurting right now? But you heard also what he said about, pretty much a lot of these women pretty much are considered crazy. I read. So yeah, So the Lord about to send great judgment. This is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 5, and it reads, Behold, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua will bring plagues upon the world. One of the plagues is the lack of jobs. You know, the money felon. You know, famine. Pretty much DJ Trump brought forth a famine to a degree when he cut all that aid. And the cold part about it is, if you got any kind of spirituality and any kind of sense, and the Lord dealing with you, even just a minute, like a little bit, you would see that they cut the aid because they was planning on going over there to start this fucking shit from the get-go. And if you can't see, you just got to know it's inevitable, right? Because the scriptures say it's going to be a third war's war. They talking about we need $1.5 trillion. They what's that, belittling and berating him, you know, like he a child, and he's so proud he fighting back at you people, you know what I mean? Like, you don't think they gonna come up with the money? I just told you they was talking about Trump. I'm gonna really go look into that today, Lord will, if I keep it on, you know, remember. But they said that pretty much he was just doing some kind of golfing thing, and I think they said like pretty much either they raised or they spent like I gotta go look into it, but it's a lot of money. And like I said again, I keep on hearing about he smell like shit. Well, he got the whole world smell like shit because he think he is the shit. That's why I say again, you gotta really just sit back and, you know, just stay locked in and pray to the Lord for him to, you know, scriptures say vengeance is of the Lord. And again, it's so funny because these devils really think they about to just take the world out of course and then just ride off into the sunset. You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of here. I hope the Lord keep the devil alive until, you know what I mean, so he can, I hope he keep him alive until the return, you know? I mean, you know, it's the will of the Lord, not my will, but it's just like these proud, these extra proud motherfuckers deserve, you know, that double portion of that cup. It says, Behold, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction, for wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. You know, a video like this surfaces, and that's still like the scriptures talk about how, you know, all these different things gonna be taking place, and they pride is, you know, they still gonna be committing wickedness at the end. 2nd Ezra chapter 14 and verse 16, and it reads, For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. So again, if you had, you know, homosexuality, you had, you know, cities like Sodom and Gomorrah, and you had all these different wicked acts taking place back then, how much more so today? And it's comical, but it's frustrating. You again, like I say, she talk about, she go, where my Bible at and all that shit, and then that spirit get on her ass. You heard what she said. I got one more relationship in it. I hope the Lord kill that bitch. Just because simple fact is, you know, that remind me of that Idumean that was teaching the young girls, talking about, yeah, you should go lay with your dog. And I'll never forget, I remember brothers made mention of it. I went and found the video, did a video on it, and they flagged me. Why? Because she's an Idumean? Because she's an Edomite? Because she's a so-called white person? Don't they actually like arrest you for having sex with animals if you don't live in a... That's how, again, like I said, this place really is Babylon the Great. You got certain states that it's okay, and, you know, then you got certain places like, that's what's that called? Bestiality. You know, if you ever pay attention to the movie 300, that part where you had the little deformed guy that pretty much he ended up telling Xerxes about the hidden trail. Remember when they in that little area wherever they at, and all the little weird shit going on, you got all the women, and then you got the animal, and it looked like the animal, the goat, is smoking and whatnot. That represented that pretty much that was a freaky deaky situation. They was committing bestiality. Got to read between the lines. This place utterly needs to be destroyed. And that's why, again, the scriptures say, For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. So if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, statutes, commandments of your power, whose true name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. And with that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Elohim like Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem. Double honor to the elders, to the apostles that I learned this truth from. Peace and salutation to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives, as well as their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and Aqua, thought to listen and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you I say, Shalom. Till next time, Lord willingly, Shalom, Shalom, Kwam Yasharala, and Mawathlababal.